Ogden Nash, who is a very famous American poet. He was actually famous for his light verse, means a comical kind of writing poetry. Here you can see sound like the wind. So this is a figure of speech, okay, that's a literary device, and that is simile. All the bankers particularly, they adhere to one rule. What is it? What kind of rule is it? Which is, you must never lend any money to anybody unless they don't need it. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Shalini, Professor of English, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Today we are here to understand one of the poems prescribed by University of MYSURU for 2nd Sem B.C.A. We are going to understand about the bankers are not like anybody else. This poem is written by Ogden Nash. Let us understand what is there in today's session first. We are going to understand about the poet, then we'll move on to the summary. So let us start with the introduction of the poet here. He is Ogden Nash, who is a very famous American poet. He was actually famous for his light verse, means a comical kind of writing poetry, and he was also famous for his unconventional rhyme scheme, means his poems did not have a word length also. He did not write poems in proper rhyme scheme also. It was very unconventional. Whatever he wrote was having a lot of unconventional rhyme schemes. I'll explain to you what is unconventional rhyme scheme, because this poem is also one such example. He was declared the best known producer of humorous poetry by this New York Times. He is best known for surprising pun-like writing rhymes, means something like a sarcasm you can consider. Sometimes he used to do puns with words. Sometimes deliberately he used to misspell the words for giving that comical effect. So looking at him only, you can feel that he is one such person. So let us start with the summary of this poem. This poem is actually to celebrate banks. Okay, so it means he is praising banks. At the same time, it's a kind of sarcasm. He is talking about the banks. This is a song to celebrate banks because they are full of money and you go into them and all you hear is clinks and clanks. Or maybe a sound like the wind in the trees on the hills, which is the rustling of the $1,000 bills. So here you can see in this line, the first line actually has a limited meter. Meter means the number of words in the line, okay? So it is limited. Whereas here in this line, you can see it is too much. Whereas comparatively, this is lesser, okay? And this comes down. So like this, it is not uniform. Okay, though it is not considered as a stanza. This actually continues here like this, but since there is no place, I've put it in the second line. So each line is what I am talking about. So the meter is not fixed. Meter means number of words in the lines. So that is not fixed. So let us go to the summary part. This is a song to celebrate banks, means he is praising, he is celebrating banks here. Why? Because they are full of money. So you are celebrating a bank because bank is a celebrity and it is full of money. You go into them and all you hear is clinks and clanks. So here he is talking about the sound of the coins. Okay, he is talking about the sound of coins, or maybe sound like the wind in the trees on the hills. So here he is talking about something else. What is he talking about? Which is the rustling of the $1,000 bills. That means he is talking about the notes here. So here he talks about the coins. So coins and notes, he is talking about the sounds of coins and notes he is talking about. So here you can see sound like the wind. So this is a figure of speech. Okay, that's a literary device, and that is simile. So this is simile, what you are seeing over here. Simile is a comparison, sound like the wind. So this is simile here, and this is the summary of the first stanza that I told now. Most bankers dwell in marble halls. So he is talking about their house. Okay, what kind of house they live in. Most bankers dwell in marble halls, which they get to dwell in because they encourage deposits and discourage withdrawals. And particularly because they all observe one rule, which woe bestides the banker who fails to heed it, which is, you must never lend any money to anybody unless they don't need it. So here you can see, why are they so rich? Most bankers dwell in marble halls. Why do they live in marble halls? Usually marble is used in houses of people who are very rich. That is very expensive. So that's why only rich people take it. Whoever wants to construct a very posh house, so those people only buy this marble and they get it installed. And he's talking about the bankers. So most of the bankers actually, they live in marble halls. Why is that so? Which they get to dwell in because the reason he is telling now, they encourage deposits and discourage withdrawals. So they encourage incoming only instead of outgoing. So they don't want people to withdraw, they just want them to deposit. Even they give interest, that is fine, but money flows in for them. So that is the reason the people who encourage that will get paid more. Okay, so that is the reason they get to dwell in marble houses. And particularly because they all observe, another reason he is giving over here, that is a particular reason for them to dwell in marble houses. So particularly because they all observe one rule. So all of the bankers observe one rule. What is it? Which woe betides the banker who fails to heed it. Suppose the banker fails to heed it, suppose any banker doesn't follow that rule, that means he is gone to dogs. His life will be miserable. So what is the golden rule that the bankers follow? All the bankers particularly, they adhere to one rule. What is it? What kind of rule is it? Which is, you must never lend any money to anybody unless they don't need it. So until and unless they don't need money, please never lend any money at all. So only at the time of need only they'll borrow the money. And they'll be so desperate to borrow that money, means they are ready to do anything for that. They are ready to pay any amount of interest for that. Even if the interest is high, that doesn't matter. They are ready to give that interest and they are ready to get that loan. So they adhere to one rule, that is, until and unless anybody doesn't need money, do not lend money to them. So that is the golden rule the poet talks about in these lines. I know you cautious conservative banks. If people are worried about their rent, it is your duty to deny them the loan of 1 nickel. Yes, even one copper engraving of the martyred son of late Nancy Hanks. Yes, if they request $50 to pay for a baby, you must look at them like Tarzan looking at an uppity ape in the jungle. And tell them what do they think a bank is. Anyhow, they had better go get the money from their wife's aunt or uncle. So here you can see he's talking about the conservative banks. So he is telling, I know what is your intention. So the poet is kind of cautioning the the conservative banks. What is it? I know you cautious conservative banks. So here you can see there is a repetition here. So this literary device is called as repetition. So here he is repeating it in order to give some emphasis on that usage. If people are worried about their rent, so people, if at all they are worried about their rent, they are paying a rent. That means they cannot afford a house. So if at all they are worried about their rent, it is the duty of the bank to deny them loan of 1 nickel. Not even 1 pi of loan you should give them. Yes, even 1 copper engraving, means he is talking about nickel. Copper means he is talking about the coins. Not even 1 pi, not even 1 nickel coin or not even 1 copper coin you should be giving them. That has the engraving of martyred son of late Nancy Hanks. So he talks about some queen's son which is there. Like as a remembrance, they engrave some person's face on the coin, right? So even that, if it has, you should not be giving them any money. You should not be lending them any money. The work of bank is to lend money only, but you should know the situation of the people who are borrowing money is what he says. If at all they are not in a position to afford a house, then you should not be lending them any money, he says. Yes, if they request $50, now they are asking for $50. Those people who are not able to afford for a loan or afford for a house, they are in a rented house. If at all they request you to give $50 to pay for a baby, or maybe for some baby and all they want to pay, So that time you must look at them like a Tarzan. Tarzan, you know, the hero who is in a jungle. Okay, so you must look at them like Tarzan looking at an uppity ape. Uppity ape is a kind of monkey that is very naughty in the jungle. Okay, so jungle. And so like that kind of look you should give them, means you should be very strict, you should be very stern in your look, is what he says. And tell them what do they think a bank is. So you cannot afford for a rent only, to pay rent, then how can you afford to pay back the loan, is what they have to keep in mind. And they have to give a stern look at them, and they have to shoo the customers away, is what he says. And tell them what do they think a bank is. So you should talk to them, the bankers should talk to them like, what do you think a bank is? Anyhow, they had better go get money from their wife's aunt. So instead of coming to the bank, which offers some money with lot of interest, with high interest, instead of that, it is better to go to relatives, that is wife's aunt or uncle. So here you can see it's a deliberate misspelled word, misspelling of a word over here. Here you can see jungle rhymes with uncle here. Jungle and uncle rhymes. Whereas other places you can see there is no rhyme scheme at all. Banks rhymes with hangs. Okay, only in this stanza you can see rhyming words. Okay, other stanzas there were no rhyming words at all. So that shows how unconventional his rhyme scheme was. So this is the reason, that is, he was told that he has lot of unconventional rhyme schemes in his poems. So here you can see the poet tells the people to go get money from their relatives instead of coming to the banks and getting loans in high interest rates. But suppose people come in and they have a million and they want another million to pile on top of it. Why you brim with the milk of human kindness and you urge them to accept every drop of it. And you lend them the million, so then they have 2 million, and this gives them the idea that they would be better off with 4. So here he is telling about how banks offer loans to people who are paying it back regularly. But suppose people come in and they have a million. They now have a million. He is talking about the people who are well off. Those people come and they want another million to pile on top of it. So they are requesting for another million to add on to it. Means they are asking for loan over there. Why you brim the milk of human kindness? So the milk has already reached the brim. The quantity has already come to the brim. Why do you want to put more on it? And you urge them to accept every drop of it. So you go on adding one by one drops on it, and you ask them to accept everything. That means the person who is well off and he is paying the interest properly, you give them more money as loan and you ask them to pay it back properly. Why do you want to do that? Why are you giving it to the same person who already is well off, is the poet is asking. And you lend them the million, so then they have 2 million. So you lend that person who has 1 million with another one, and they have 2 million now. And this gives them the idea that they would be better off with 4. Now they already have 2 million. Some loan you offer them with the interest, that time they'll start feeling that now I have 1, they'll be giving me 1 more, I have 2. That means I should be better off with 4. I can ask for more loan and I'll be better off, is what that person thinks. That means these banks are increasing the greed in people, is what the poet is trying to say. The person who is already well off is trying to expand his business by borrowing more money and piling it up in his account, is what the poet says here. Then, so they already have 2 million as security. So you have no hesitation in lending them 2 more. And all the vice presidents nod their heads in rhythm. And the only question asked is, do the borrowers want the money sent or do they want to take it with them? Because I think they deserve our appreciation and thanks, the jackasses who go around saying that health and happiness are everything and money isn't essential. So here he is talking about the loans that the bank provide. They already have 2 million. So the person already has 2 million. The person who had come with 1 million is offered another million as loan. Now he has 2 million as security. So he has that security. Now, so you have no hesitation in lending them 2 more. So the person has asked for 2 more millions. Now you are ready to give them 2 more millions because that person already has 2 millions as security. all the vice presidents nod their head. Now, whenever the loan has to be sanctioned, there should be the higher officers who accept that. Okay, so now the vice presidents nod their head. They agree to grant the loan, and the only question asked is, do the borrowers want the money sent or do they want to take it with them? So now he is asking a question. The only question that is remaining here is that, do the borrowers want the money sent? Now, do you want it to be sent by us? Means you go home, we'll send it to your house, or do they want to take it with them? So here again it is misspelling of word. So it is like with them is misspelled as with them. So should we send this money to your house, or will you carry it by yourself along with you, is what the only question they ask. Nobody asks the question, how are you going to pay it back or anything like that. They just ask such silly question to send the money with them, because I think they deserve our appreciation. Now he is talking about the appreciation for the bankers. Okay, they deserve our appreciation. Why do they deserve the appreciation here? Because I think they deserve our appreciation here. Why do they deserve the appreciation? And also he thanks the bankers. Why is it? The jackasses who go around saying that health and happiness is everything. The people who are talking about, the jackasses means the people who are cheated. Okay, the person who is already fallen into a trap. Okay, so those people, no, they go around saying that health and happiness, they are everything. So the people who have borrowed money, no, they go around and tell that health and happiness is everything. Okay, but now money isn't essential. The people who have borrowed money, who want money for their own happiness, they go around and say health and happiness are everything and money is not at all essential for one's life, is what they go around and say. So here he is celebrating, he is appreciating the bankers who have given money to who doesn't even need money, who are well off and they don't even need money. Okay, because as soon as they have to borrow some unimportant money to maintain their health and happiness, they starve to death. So they can't go around anymore sneering at good old money, which is nothing short of providential. So here you can see, now the people who have money, that is the $4 million which they have borrowed from the bank. So those people go around and say, isn't it, money isn't essential, money isn't anything, health and happiness is everything, they want to say. Actually, that money is unimportant. Something it is unimportant, isn't it? So that money is actually unimportant. Now they say money is not essential. For them now money is unimportant. That is what they say, right? To maintain their health and happiness. So they in turn, they say health and happiness are everything. In order to maintain that, those rich people need this money. That unimportant money, they need to maintain this health and happiness. They starve to death. In order to maintain their health and happiness, by using this money, they starve to death. What is the result? They starve to death. So that means they have to pay back the interest and all, they have to work so much. That means they starve to death. That time they cannot go around and tell it to everybody. Sneering at good, sneering is to smile. Okay, smiling sheepishly without any reason you smile, so that is called as sneering. So they go around and sneer at the good, and they say that good old money, they go around and say, which is nothing short of providential. That is nothing but you are saving it to keep up something. Okay, it is not short of any kind of happiness or any kind of health. It is the reason for everything, is what the poet says. He actually puts that the irony over here. Okay, whatever is unimportant is important to keep up. Whatever is very important for us is the is what the meaning of this line is. So this was a poem to celebrate the bankers. He appreciates bankers and he tells about the tactics of the bankers, what they use in order to persuade people to avail loan. Just watch this video, read this poem, you will be able to interpret it in a better way. So thank you for your time. Let us meet again with another more interesting topic. So till then, take care, keep learning. Bye-bye. See you soon.